it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We reaching the top, we reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We reaching the top, we reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'm never going back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Hello and welcome to the AOSC Super Series live on Apex Racing TV and live on the iRacing Esports Network. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Matthew Norris with Scott Newton operating the cameras tonight. And we are here for round 10 of the championship. We are here at Phillip Island. Noi, it is an absolute classic, this track. I always try to catch the MotoGP whenever that series visits this place, and it's one that the drivers will be very familiar with, and always produces fantastic racing. Looking forward to this race, which brings us into the second half of the season.
Absolutely. G'day, Sam. G'day, everyone. It's a fantastic race circuit to be at. It's one of the best ones Australia has on offer, and that's why the MotoGP turns up year after year. Like you say, Phillip Island, very well renowned with our drivers in the AOSC Championship. We're here practically every season, so they should know it inside out and backwards. But thankfully, we only go around it clockwise, and anti-clockwise, and that's the way we'll be going around it tonight.
I'd like to give it a go, actually, clockwise. I'm not sure it'd be any better. I don't think it could be a whole lot better, to be honest. But yeah, someone give that a go. So yeah, of course, round 10 of the championship is this one. And a reminder that Scott Newton, James Scott is currently 9 from 9 so far this season and is looking very dangerous for his 10th in a row. Before we get into the action, we'll quickly give a big shout out to all the sponsors for the championship, because they really do make this series as professional and as fantastic as it is. Acuta, who do height, safety and rigging equipment for sale and hire. Big thanks to them. Also Jinx Shifters, who make high quality premium shifters, brake bias and ARB adjusters as well. So if you're looking to take your rig up to the next level, certainly do visit them, because they've got some fantastic products which are absolutely awesome, really replicate the real life situation. Race Circuit Arts Australia, who make high quality CNC race circuits which you can have on your wall, and they've got race circuits from Australia across and also across the entire world. Sixth Gear Imagery, who do sim racing digital imagery and will be doing the action shots for this round of the season. Wolf Graphics, who make stickers and will also be providing some prizes as well to the winners of the championship. And also West End Mazda 2 Easy Finance and Parramatta Isuzu Ute, who are all Sydney car dealers, all led by Jamie McKnight. So big thanks to him and big thanks to all of those sponsors for their continued support of the series. We're currently in a 20-minute qualifying session, and we've got about 4 more minutes of it to go. We've had this same situation though with James Scott out in the lead by quite a handy margin, over 1,000 points clear. It would take something quite spectacular for that to be overturned, seeing that Scott has barely had a bad round. Of course, he's won every round of the championship, so he hasn't had any bad rounds, and so he's very near to a perfect score. Corey Shepherd moves up into second place in the championship. It's been so close between him and Ross Briggs, and also Myers as well, who's been particularly impressive in the team rounds alongside James Scott, but also Brian Borg, Geordie Sinney, who's had a great season, Carl Stokes, who's been a little bit up and down, Ken Latzer and Damien Johnston rounding out the top 10. There's plenty more very competitive drivers further down the standings. Particularly watch out for the pursuit guys of Freya and Taliancic a bit further down. In this qualifying session, we have got James Scott on the top of the standings. He's 0.2 of a second clear of Harley Haber. How quickly do we think it's going to take Haber to get up to speed in this championship? Do you think? No, I mean, of course, he was so impressive last season, but he's only recently come back. Do you expect there to be a bit of a lag, or do you think a guy of his experience will just be able to jump back in and straight away be back on the pace?
Harley jumped straight back in and be straight on the pace, no drama. He showed that last weekend out at Montreal, and he's shown that again tonight. While you're doing that intro down on the championship standings, he's just split the Logitech G Alta C Sports with James Scott and Brady Myers and jumped into second. So I think he's already there. He's already on the pace. I just like to see him take a bit extra pace and run it with James Scott.
last season we saw Andrew Gilliam seemingly the best challenger to James Scott around this track. He started a second place on the grid, but then got done on the start by another driver. I'll need to remind myself of who that was in just a moment. But I got done on the start and then just could not overtake for the rest of the race, because this is quite a tricky to overtake circuit, even though, I mean, in MotoGP we have some fantastic draft battles around this pace, and of course the high-speed nature of that pit straight, because you go onto it at such a high speed, you can make a lot of overtakes. But at least last season, you know, there weren't many overtakes to be seen, and we did see on that occasion Gilliam get stuck in third place for the entire race, even though he was about half a second a lap faster than the driver ahead. Do you think we're going to see similar today, or do you think overtaking is going to be quite possible?
It's a hard one here, Sam, with the way the track is, the way the cars are. I mean, sometimes you can, if you're following the preceding car close enough, you will get that draft. It will be rather efficient. Sometimes you'll happily sit there and just use the fuel save. So that's another option to look out for tonight with our drivers. But yeah, I'm really hoping the draft is going to bring up some exciting racing. We saw how fantastic it was at Le Mans to have that massive long straight and have so many different drafting possibilities. It definitely opens up the strategy playbook.
Yeah, well rounded the championship that was, and really came down to the wire with Scott running out of fuel, but had enough to get to the finish. There you can see the lap times for all the drivers, plenty of drivers in the 28s, so close between the drivers, between second and, well, really down to 23rd. You can see second place with a 28.89. Then a second behind that is Mark Duggan in 25th. So it always very close in this championship. It's no surprise. We've got lots of cars as well out here today, about 50 drivers taking part in today's 150-kilometre meeting. So the checker flag is about to come out. The drivers are allowed to finish the lap that they start. This isn't like the official says. They are allowed to finish the lap that they start. So there could be some improvements. Corey Shepherd, who's been the best Premier racing driver so far this season. Of course, wasn't racing for them last season, but making his debut this season, up in second place in the championship, has been getting some really consistent top 10 finishes over the course of the championship. Ben Blaze, by the way, just saying in purple per second. I don't know what that is about according to our screen. Not sure if that's totally correct, but let's see what Shepherd can do. Then he only needs to improve by a tenth of a second, and he's on the front row of the grid. And if you're on the front row of the grid, that really does give you a shot at perhaps taking the lead going into turn one. Any further them down than that, and it will be tricky. Shepherd crosses the line. It's not a bad lap by any means. Consistent, and if we are taking an aggregate score, then I'm sure we'll be looking in a pretty good position, but well, that isn't going to quite be good enough for him. What about Brett Loxton? He's doing well in the championship, up in the top 10 in the championship at the moment. He's actually on an outlap, I believe, and so that will be no improvement, and he remains in 10th place.
Yeah, unfortunately on my screen on the timing, I'm not seeing too many that are actually jumping up and setting good, really fast out there sectors, but like you covered off before, the top 29 cars are all within a second of each other, so you don't need to find much to be an improvement, but you're not finding much there out there at the moment. It seems Phillip Islands give them all it's going to give, as Joe McKnight flashes his headlights in either anger or enjoyment at being P18.
Probably the former, I'd say, for Jamie. He's kind of made that P18 a spot for himself. I'd like to see where he's actually qualified so far this season, but he's always been around that range so far this championship. Struggled to get a whole lot higher, although has had some better race results so far this championship as Jamie, who of course is the head car dealer at of course Too Easy Finance, and also West End Mazda and Parramatta Isuzu Ute as well, based in Sydney. So we just got Brett Loxton still out on track, but I'm pretty sure he crossed the line after the checkered flag was out, and so that is pretty much everyone's times complete, and the drivers will start to grid up now on the start-finish straight. And we can see the starting order. It's another pole position for James Scott, 2/10 of a second clear of Harley Haber, but a decently long run down into turn one, and the United Sim Sports driver might be able to take that crucial lead. Track position could be important around this circuit. Brady Myers starts in third place. Can he help out his teammate from the second row of the grid? Then it's Jordan Ross in fourth. Corey Shepard lines up in fifth, and Adam Briggs alongside him on the third row of the grid. Behind that, it is Geordie Cini, Darren Lobb. Could see Darren Lobb actually. Does he always race in this? I'm not quite sure. In eighth place. Andrew Dyson in ninth place. Brett Loxton in 10th. Then it's Ken Latter, Damien Johnston, Brian Borg, Reese Keane, Daniel Misdale, Christian Smart, qualifying for Smart actually. Neil Pearson in 17th. Then it's Jamie McKnight, Greg Sharp, Jamie Stovald, Marty Hansen, Simon Chadwick, Stephen Varga, Michael Whiting, Mark Duggan, Jamie Dyke, Alex Courts, Paul Warwick, Cameron Jones, and Rob Harris. That is your top 30. Anyone else further down who could be dangerous? Tom Freer gains open 49. And Tanya Chichin 50. I don't know why those guys never qualify, but they haven't done again. In fact, just James Scott still to get onto the grid, I believe. I think pretty much everyone else is already there. And we'll probably have about 25 seconds more before we go green. Is this going to be, how important is the start going to be, Noy? How important is it for Scott to keep the lead?
For James Scott going 10 from 10, it's massively important. For Harley Haber, it's an open book. I mean, he's not fighting for anything but race wins, so he can go hell for leather. And Brady Myers, he's got the job of protecting his teammates. So we'll watch as this one goes green.
Yep, here we go then. The lights coming on. James Scott from the pole position, going for 10 out of 10. And we are away. It's a decent start for Scott. I think Haber might be able to get alongside him, though, going into turn 1. He's on the outside line, though. Heading into turn 1. Can he go all the way around the outside of the Logitech G Autos eSports car? They're almost touching through turn 1. Haber with a massive side. He's surely going to be off the circuit. He just about manages to hang on to the car. Scott does hang on to the lead, but Haber sure did give it a good attempt. The top 7 still in the same order. Brett Loxton down a couple of places outside the top 10 now, and also Quick Sharp with a bit of a poor start. Also near Peterson as well, heading off the track, but Scott just about being able to get far enough ahead going into the first hairpin to be able to protect that lead for the time being. Oh, there's a few off tracks here. What is going to be happening down at the hairpin? And that is a bunch of cars off. We might even get a safety car for that one if anyone has to tow back to the pits. But so far, I'm not seeing anyone towing back to the pits so far. As in fact, I think that is a safety car we have got on this opening lap of the race. Yeah,
it looks like a lot of cars off track and cars spun around at Honda there, turn 4. So that was quite a carnage-filled opening lap towards the hairpin there, where it normally does Constantina up. But it was a good, clean start from Harley Haber. Nice competitive edge on James Scott, just sort of making his intentions clear. He's ready to take this fight to the Logitech Elsa's driver.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't see what was going on in the background on that opening lap, so apologies if I missed the absolute mayhem. I don't know if they all forgot that there was a corner or something. You've done enough laps around this place, guys, but they all just absolutely headed straight off into the wall. They do get a faster pair, a couple of faster pairs. No, I believe it's just the one faster pair in for these 150-kilometer events. And well, they're going to use them. I've just heard a random engine blow up as well, so I don't know if someone's just gone back to the pits blowing the engine, but absolute mayhem on this opening lap of the race. I'm not actually seeing the pace car at the moment out on track either. I don't know if it's just going to pick them up. I bet there is just a car further up the road. There it is, being driven by Ryan Kolstad. And in fact, is this Ryan's first time in the safety car? It's usually someone else, I believe.
We've had Nick Husler and we've had someone else as well. We also have. We've had a few safety car drivers, none as memorable as Nick, but won't hold that against him.
Oh, but we will. Yeah. Well, he totally forgot that there was a corner at Austin, living in 2009, it seemed. But good to see Brian Kolstad out there, who, of course, is one of the lead organisers of the Aussie Mix and Fix GT Championship, which will be back on your screens on Sunday. And they've also got a special event as well happening on Sunday, maybe just a bit before the GT Championship. So we're going to get a replay of the start, and it was a really nice start, wasn't it, from Harley Haber. He managed to control the wheel spin extremely well, but just maybe pushed a little bit too hard into turn one. I don't know, he had to go for it against Scott.
That's right, when the opportunity is there is to run up against a 9 from 9 race winner, you've got to make your intentions clear, and he surely did that. It's just the end of his car met the front of James's car, and it didn't grip up too well, but the carnage mid-pack, it just exploded from there onwards.
Just absolute craziness going on in the midfield, and due to that we've got Knight, Hansen, Dyke, Kieran all in the pits, I think going a lap down most likely, and also Daniel Bisdale as well in big problems. Stephen Martin as well losing plenty of time, but some drivers have gained massively. For that, Rob Harris gone from 30th up to 16th, Logan Barnett up 16 places, Tyson McAvoy up 16, Jaden Borg up 14, Tom Fear up 24. So he starts in 49th. He's already escalated up half the order as Tom Freer. Did Taliancic get to do that? Taliancic got up 18. So what's that?
That's probably why he didn't qualify. Figured he could make 21 positions on the opening lap.
Yeah, I want to buy one of those crystal balls because that was in the end a pretty good. I mean, saying that, I think Freer would have qualified in the top 10 really. So he's not got a pass from me yet, but you might well have most places gained this season. A few drivers coming into the pits actually, and this looks like is this a strategic option? We'll see. I think a few drivers might be trying to put a bit of extra fuel in. Could they go to the end of the race from here? Surely not.
We've played this game before. I'm actually going to say yes, they could, but I don't think it's the right strategy at this point in the race. It's probably the right option, but not the right call. So if you can figure that one out, I reckon you need to be at the front of the field to make that work. And yeah, you need to be racing the guys at the front, not racing the guys at the back because the entire field's condensed, so it's not really giving them much of an advantage by stopping now and putting an extra fuel in.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, you can't go to the end of it. I imagine this circuit, though. Is this a high fuel consumption circuit? I guess you're kind of half throttle for a lot of it, particularly around this part of the track where you got these fast sweepers. You're just going to be kind of half throttle a lot of the time, not braking as such. Of course, what uses up the fuel is when you got, hairpin after hairpin. If you're constantly on the throttle accelerating from a low speed and then braking, you're just wasting all that energy. Whereas around this track, you're kind of flowing through the circuit. So maybe they will be able to go a bit further, but I doubt they could go to the end of the race. It really would be pushing. They're limited to 75% fuel. And these cars can usually go about 50 minutes, so probably about 35, 40 minutes that these cars can go, and we're expecting this race to take about 50 minutes in length. James Scott then, he will be leading the cars away, not from a standing start this time, but from a rolling start, and he is the master at this. But Harley Haber maybe would just believe that he could put a challenge on the Logitech G Altus esports car after almost taking the lead into turn one. Scott holding on for a while, and Haber is not giving him an inch at the moment. Scott is leaving it until a pretty late moment. They can't overtake until they get to the start-finish line. And he's still waiting. This is a bit longer than what we expected. Haber, if anything, is pushing him along. And now James Scott puts his butt down, but Haber staying close. Also, Brady Martin looking very racy in third place. That will be able to mount an attack on the United Sim Sports car, which does have a tow on the driver ahead. Flashing his lights as Haber is putting everything into this restart. But it hasn't been enough, at least going into turn one, to be able to make an indent on the race leader. This the drivers just going through, hopefully we avoid the issues that we saw on lap one. Out in the lead, it's still Scott, but this is under pressure now for him. 0.2 of a second will pick up a bit of a tow here for Haber. Scott may just have to cover off the middle of the circuit in order to hold on to the lead. Haber with another big slide. He's been all over the place so far in this event. And Scott is really defending another little tap from Havey. Will get away with that one from the stewards. Maybe a little bit of a warning because he was tapping him seemingly under the safety car as well. But Scott has survived the initial onslaught. Havey will have to start getting creative.
That blowtorch from the front of Havey's car is red hot, and it shows the caliber of James Scott as a driver to have defended that for nearly a quarter of a lap. He's just solidly held his line and put the car in the right position so Harley can't get through. It's been fantastic to watch this restart so far. None of the cars have really dropped off each other. It's been line astern running.
Yeah, it's been a really good driving from these front guys so far. Currently the top 7 being separated by 2.5 seconds as they move on to lap 5 of this 34 lap race. It's still Scott leading the way. Are there going to be any moves further down the order? Perhaps Cine and Dyson. Also Lob pretty close to Latta. Event is going to be Dyson the most likely to make a move. He is within 0.2 of a second at the moment. And around this circuit, you can kind of be a bit bugged, to be honest, down into one of these hairpins. You leave the door open, and if the opponent goes down the inside, there's not a whole lot you can do apart from just turning out of the corner. And Dyson, I think, thought about that one, but it wasn't quite close enough. And of course, when you're in such close proximity, you've got to make sure if you do go for mid, you don't accidentally hit the car a couple of places ahead of you. Drive the penalty for the 209 machine for not leaving racing room. I think that may have been a collision down at the first hairpin. And that is Brett Loxton, who is down 27 places. Anyway, started up in the top 10, Loxton, and this result may well have a bit of a hit on his championship position.
Yeah, not encouraging signs there from Brett Loxton, but unfortunately his race has gone pear-shaped from, it looks like, lap 1.
Yeah, we'll just get a replay of this one. This is how he managed to get the penalty just a moment ago for Brett Loxton, who was already quite far down the order. He might have to get back to the race lead, however, pretty soon, because I think Harley Haber is really attacking. For a moment, he was ahead on the timing screen. I think maybe he was on the outside into turn 1, but he couldn't quite make it. And it's another tap from it. I do wonder if the stewards are just going to have to get involved in this one because he's pushing the limits right now, right? But we think this is kind of a non-contact sport. If Haber was able to get through via one of these little taps, then he'd probably have to give the position back.
Yeah, I think one of the Aussie rules though is rubbings racing, and these are just intimidation bumps. It's what some of the really good drivers do, is they will tap and gnaw on the back bumper, and they'll let you know they're there every step of the way. But it was uncharacteristic to see one of the Logitech cars off, obviously of Myers, because Scott is still leading, but that must have been an intense battle that we just caught the back of heading down into turn 1. It looks like they were all out sideways, to quote Mark Scaife, but this is just an intense battle. We haven't seen the likes of this since Okayama, when Adam Briggs was fighting the back of James Scott.
Yeah, Briggs, the much faster driver on that day, veered to 4/10 a lap faster than Scott, but went off the track on the opening lap, dropped down to 9th place, brought himself back up to the front thanks to a safety car, but could not pass James Scott, who I struggled to recall even being overtaken so far this season. And like I said before, he hasn't always been the fastest driver out on track, but his defence and his resilience is absolutely second to none. That is why he's doing so well in the championship. Dodds up into 19th place. He's battling with Logan Barnett. Also, Jones just ahead of them, battling with Paul Warwick as well. And some tight battles further down. We can see him being into the hairpin amongst any of these drivers. Barnett, I think, probably with the slightly better line. So 44 just glances down the inside, and that is going to be a move for Alex Corp there, and Barnett just drops down a place. And that's what I was talking about with the move into the hairpin. If the opponent goes for it, then the outside Joe has very little they can do to resist.
of the cars ranging up on the back of Gambana is Tom Frere, who has made that start, as you mentioned before, from near the 40s, and he's now up into P17, P18, sorry. So he is, oh no, that's P22. As I just confused my timing screen. But that's an intense battle going on there.
And a little bit of context, and Fear's going to adjust this one, so 3 wide again. That's Taliancic just passing his teammate actually in the 777. There he is. He was about 7 places behind Freya before the pit stops, but with that adjust from Freya, who will try to escape a penalty after that one. That was pretty obvious that was a penalty. Freya straight away does make up one of the places though. Further up, Haber just dropping back a little bit. It's half a second now. He lost about 0.2 of a second on that last lap, but certainly not the end of the world. So as he stays within 0.8 of a second, then it'll be very dangerous when he gets into the pit stop range. Of course, very few drivers coming into the pit so far. The pit window will probably be open around lap 14 or so. And then you might see a few drivers come into the pits, but that would be a mega undercut. Could work out well for you. Other drivers, of course, will last as long as possible. And of course, if you can hit under safety car conditions, that can sometimes be a bit of an advantage as the other drivers are going a bit slow, although not a massive advantage, it should be added. However, now opening up the gap to 0.8 of a second. James Scott really starting to turn the screen.
He started to open up that gap and it's starting to stretch his legs, showing the James Scott of all 9 previous races this season. But this is not over just yet. This battle pack has not broken away from Myers back through the field.
Now really it's only Stephen Wagner who's jumped off this lot. 14th place with Wagner, who started down in 23rd. So I think that's probably got something to do with it. Probably just not as fast as these guys, but apart from that, the top 13 separated by less than a second between each one of them. Right, top 13 separated by 7 seconds at the moment. That's how close it is. And the tow clearly quite valuable for these drivers, hence why they are staying so close to one another. Jones battling now with Paul Warwick. That's not going to happen then into the hairpin. And they got to get on with it because they're going to have Taliancic and Fig chasing them down pretty soon.
Yeah, it was sort of a move, looked and then thought, nah, couldn't do that one. It's one of the best things about the hairpin is you do sort of get to poke the nose out just ever so often, look in the driver in front's mirror and say, I'm still here, I'm still following, keep your wits about you. And it's something.
Are you a driver who gets nervous when you're being chased by... Tom Pierce just had an off, by the way. But yeah, are you a driver who gets nervous when you've got someone chasing down your tail, or do you quite enjoy the challenge, quite enjoy being able to hold them off?
I enjoy the thrill. I love a good battle. If you like this with the teammates here, Stovall and Freya. Had to figure out what 707 was there. Stovall and Freya, if you can go side to side with your teammate, or anyone for that matter, it's a successful race and it's satisfying when you get the job done.
It sure is. And Freya just trying to get past the 770. He was off the circuit around Lukey Heights, I believe. Then got back on, but so he's dropped about 7 places in the last couple of laps of his career, which is unusual for him. Usually a consistent driver, but it has been a very disappointing season so far for one of the best drivers in the championship. He really did show that last season with several podiums across the championship. Here he goes down the inside of the 777, and I think he was able to pull that one off. But they're up, Borg and Johnston. Borg is up 2 places. But Johnston does look faster. He was very fast, I believe, Johnston at Le Mans, wasn't he? Couldn't quite get into quite as good a result as he would have wanted. But he wants to be up in that top 11, and just the field's starting to spread out slightly amongst these kind of top 10 places.
Yeah, I was just going to note that myself. With Varga was the last car earlier that had dropped just a little bit further back. You see that gap just growing between Kenneth Latter and Brian Borg. So it's the gap is starting to form up, and they're starting to get in their own little slipstream battles. And as you can see, that timing on the bottom of the screen there, the gap is is growing a little bit. So we're finding that part of the race where the tyres might just be coming off, drivers might be sliding the cars around, might not be as happy, but it's still cracker race so far. They're all staying together, and it's all exciting around this Phillip Island circuit.
I wonder if we can get the what's this? It's tight. 747. Oh, is that? Have we got a safety car? They're going white. No.
Nope.
Sorry, I don't know why I thought that. There you go. Jagarthan and Sharp, and they apologies. Mental breakdown in the commentary. I just thought they weren't pushing a whole lot through turn one. Come on, guys. It's a supercar, so you need to be slide. Oh, we have got
that is a
safety
safety car.
Oh, thank goodness. My sanity and my reputation, if I had one, is saved. I thought they weren't pushing very hard. That was pretty close.
I would say it made you look silly, but even I was questioning it for a moment there. This is another safety car.
Everyone's into the pits.
As you would. Obvious choice at this point. Let's see if Harley doesn't take that long stop like he took last week. It should be a good... Everyone's in. Literally. No one could have stayed out.
Alex Court has stayed out. Alex Court might get to the lead here. He needs to get on with it, though, Alex Court. Come on. 4 thoughts down the straight. There you go. Into the lead. Well done. 44.
There we go.
Yeah, he had good pace, did Alex Court. Had really good pace. We're saying some personal best before the pit stops. Freer stays out as well. Scott's still ahead, but Myers... Oh, no. What is going on with Haber? He's, well, he said don't have another long stop. Oh, it's a terrible stop for Haber. He's up to 35 seconds at the moment. He's literally stationary for half a minute longer than everyone else, and this is killing his race. And after such a good fight early on, he's still stationary in the box. What on earth is going on with Harley Haber at the moment? It won't be fresh tyres, because obviously the tyres can be taken with the fuel, and they don't take that long. We must have got like a pit entry infringement, but 55 seconds. That is about 40 seconds longer than everyone else. So I wonder if we could just try to get a replay of his pit entry, because he must have, like, I don't know, maybe gone across the grass and also gone past the pit speed as well to get 2 penalties, because that's a huge pit stop.
That has just murdered time.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't see this one. Are you able to see this one now?
I've got nothing.
Okay, well, the viewers can see. But he did overshoot the pit lane. And that's still a huge penalty, though, to be awarded. Of course, that's just by an iRacing system. It's not by any of the in-race drivers. But you know, we're neutrals up in the commentary box. We just want to see a good race, and that is a shame that Harley Haber has been taken out of this one with that incident. He was just so desperate, I imagine, to get close to Scott. But he didn't, like, cut the grass or anything. So it is an odd one. I would say. I
was going to say, it's one of the differences when you're coming in off that racetrack onto that concrete apron, and sometimes just the brakes will just lock up, and you'll just run half a meter over your pit box, and it'll be enough.
So this is now going to be a big battle when it comes to the tyres. You've got to try to make sure that you protect the tyres enough to get to the end of the race, because this is a long stint round a high deg circuit as well. And we were saying earlier on how, you know, lap 14 you want to be coming in any earlier than that, and you'll be wrecking the tyres by the end of the race. I mean, we come into the pits even earlier than that, as we've got these zero. It's like Jeremy McKnight just making up a lap.
Jeremy McKnight getting his lap back.
He towed back to the pits, I believe, after the lap 1 wreck. So he will make a lap back, which is good news for him.
But what this does is this gives Alex Court Sean Chappell and Tom Freer, a massive free kick towards the later stop in their race. Sure, everyone behind them has taken the pit stop and it might swamp them in the pack. But, I mean, you got to throw the dice out there and have a gamble. It's motor racing.
I credit them for staying out there. The bad news for them is that they're now going to be slower this next part of the race because they've got older tyres. And so they'll start dropping down. They've got to be really careful they don't get caught up in an instant with the front runners who will be wasting no time trying to get past them. And then they will pit later on. I mean, I'd be... yeah, they'll be quick at the end of the race, but it's an ambitious one. I think for Freer, it was probably the right decision because Freer might actually be able to hold his own against some of these.
If you cast your mind back to Charlotte Roval, Tom Freer was going bumper to bumper with James Scott. This will be on.
Yeah. He's got nothing to lose, this Freer, I guess, so he'll be willing to, hold him up for hold up Scott for as long as possible. It will be effectively, though, a Logitech G out as esports 1-2 when we get back to green flag racing, which should be on the next lap. And imagine we've got another safety car as well. I mean, that's what these front three need, another safety car later on. And then anytime that they lose, they'll be able to immediately gain back, and then they'll have a really racy final few laps.
Let's not forget about Jordan Ross in currently P6, but effectively P3 on the road. And Corey Shepherd, second in our championship, and currently behind Jordan Ross. So these guys are still pretty good in the Synergy and Premier cars, respectively. And they're now vying for a podium, what it looks like. Safety car pulling away from the field.
Yeah, and also Chris Barnes as well in 8th place. He hasn't pitted either, although he did pit on the first lap, I think just for repairs after getting caught up in that big incident. So he could be a bit of a block for Dyson and Borg and Cini and Briggs. By the way, Briggs, Lobb and Latter and Johnston, all certainly Briggs and Lobb losing out quite a bit during that pit stop sequence. So Court with a bit of a gap. They're not too bunched up so far, though Court just leaving it a bit. Oh, this could be troublesome because there's going to be a concertina effect. But I think they're separated enough to avoid too many impacts. And so Alex Court is leading the cars away, and we are back racing to start at 14 of this round 10 of the AOSC Super Series. And Freer immediately going for second place. He can't waste any time against Sean Chappell. Down the inside he goes. Can Scott get his way past as well? Chappell's going to be pushed off line. Scott's got to be very careful here. He'll be having to go around the long way. And Scott gets shoved out of the way. And Will Myers now be able to take the lead. That is effectively the race for the lead between the two Logitech G Altus Esports cars. And I think Myers has got ahead. Scott might be able to retaliate into the next corner if Myers doesn't go for this overtake straight away. And then there's contact with Chappell, who goes straight off the circuit. He'll be off into Narnia right there. And Scott trying to come back now against his teammate. Hasn't been able to get back past really Myers. I think that's what we're going to have to be focusing on. And Scott still can't get past, but Ross taking advantage of this one as well. He's been overtaken by Shepherd. In fact, he's effectively up into third place. And this could be the end of James Scott's 9 out of 9 run in an attempt to go for 10 because he just couldn't get past Chappell soon enough. Here comes Ross again, though. He's trying to come back against Shepherd, who just has the better line into Lukey Heights. Ross again looking down the inside. He's going to go for it. I think Shepherd should have the better line for the next corner. The outside turns into the inside. And Shepherd does get ahead. It's just losing them a lot of time and dropping them into the clutches of Dyson and Cini and Borg. Good start actually for Cini off that restart, game 3 places already. So it's Court Freer, Myers effectively into the lead, but James Scott is still very close.
It'll be interesting to see if that sticks to Myers. I think he might have been in the back of Chappell there as they were going around that turn 3, stone corner. Looked a bit awkward. And that wasn't a race that wasn't a path that Jordan Ross and Corey Shepherd going to be involved in. But this is the lead. This is Alex Court from Tom Freer. Interesting to see if James makes the dive around here on his teammate.
Oh, here comes Freer. He's surely going to make contact. He has made contacts, and that is going to be the lead for Corey Shepherd. Apologies for Brady Myers and. Oh, well, you can't see that one from Freer's perspective. He was going to go for the move, and the opponent went defensive, but that is still Fear's fault, it seems, because he just wasn't prepared for the opponent to kind of give that little room. Shepherd has been done by Ross alongside around this part of the track. Again, brilliant battling between those two. That's effectively for third place, and Ross is back ahead of Shepherd. But Myers is coming under all kinds of pressure. Look at Shepherd, he's going to be done again, it seems, by Dyson for 5th place. Dyson losing parts of his car, must have been hit by someone. Sitting now up into 7th place. Bria into the pit. He just wants to get out of that mess again.
Dyson, Cindy Briggs and Darren Lobb are all just licking their lips at the tantalising possibility of this all going pear-shaped.
Yeah, it's not far away from that happening at the moment. As also Barnes, who hasn't pitted yet, so Barnes is the only guy. Also Alex Port yet to pit. Barnes top of the drivers who still has to pit in this race, and yeah, that little almost contact into someone could have been a whole lot worse. But I think Myers and Scott is the big battle that we've got to watch out for, because we are expecting a ruling as well on that incident between Myers and Alex Port just a few minutes ago. Not Sean Chappelle, apologies, that it was between. Myers is currently holding on to that race lead as Simon Bayer just gets past Barton.
Okay, so 7:07, which is Tom Freya, has a driver through for causing a collision. I'm not sure if he's just taken that or if he has taken his service, so that puts paid to his efforts. Tom Freya, day done.
Well, that was one of the risks of staying up at 2 on Freya's now made. He had a collision earlier on, didn't he? They had to redress and then also had an off. I'm not sure if that was due to contact or due to driver out, but horrible day for him. Yeah, a lot of that down to just where he was starting on the grid was had so much to do against the others. Tadej is up into, well, he's still actually in 25th place. He lost places during the pit stop sequence. There goes Haber. Oh, wow. I didn't think of the last corner as an overtaking spot, but Harley Haber does. He's up into 26.
I think that's what happens when your opponent touches the brakes and you're flat out on the accelerator. That is a fully gripped up car from Haber, and straight down the inside of Michael Talianjic, an experienced operator in his own right, and keeps the pressure up. Doesn't make it easy for Haber, but gets the move done nice and easy as well. Moving forward, looking at Jamie Stovall, this is Paul Warwick. He's leading this little train. No. Following second in this little train from Simon Vale.
Oh no, this could be troublesome. Oh no, the 111. And that is a mess. We always see it, don't we? Drivers getting onto the grass, going into the hairpin and having no way of stopping. We've seen it in real life, and yeah, we've seen it right there as well. And Taliančić was one of the drivers who got caught out in that really rubbish day right now for Pursuit Sim Racing. Haber managed to get through it though. He was ahead of all of it. He's up into 21st.
It's one of those corners, mark my words, one of these days there will be asphalt put down on that piece of track.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what a better solution would be. I mean, yeah.
Concrete wall?
Maybe.
So this is Michael Whiting. He's on the back of Stephen Varga. Look at the toe. Fantastic. Oh, he pulls out of it, but he's let his opponent know he's there. He's waiting. Cars 999 and 74. No further action on that one.
Race controls and Chris Barnes.
Race controls say that's the way that one's playing out.
Oh,
it's awesome
Scott
just to watch.
The lead. Scott has just taken the lead from Brady Myers. Although Myers is coming back. Really battling, which we haven't seen all season long really between these two. Scott's always had track position and past Myers is always close. He's never had the overspeed to pass him. But now that it's Myers with track position, Scott is home to show his overspeed. And he very nearly got it done, but good retaliation there from Brady Myers. You wouldn't guess that these two are teammates.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're actually fighting as teammates at the moment. First, it looks like they're fighting as opponents, which is good for us, good for the viewers, and Yeah, it's going to make it interesting for James Scott to make it 10 from 10 with a team car in front of him. Looking at the ticker at the bottom of the screen, car 011, that was that melee we saw at turn 4. He
Yeah,
has a
Logan Barnett.
drive-through, unfortunately, for Logan Barnett.
Main chance for Scott here into 1. There's so little braking. That's it's not possible. Eyes a little bit wide. Plus Ross will get involved in that battle pretty soon. 3 wide into 1. Jones and Courts and Dodds. Oh, that was pretty close. Jones ahead of them. And Court, who has yet to pit, remember. This strategy that hasn't worked out for Court. He was in this position before, and he's still got to pit. But here comes Court again. He's going to come back at the, what I'm saying is a KFC livery car, but I don't believe that's probably in the paint pack. It is. Okay. Well, hopefully he's got permission to show you that one. So some great sponsorship, if that's the case. Jones and staying ahead, of course, after that, because he has got much fresher tyres.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But none of these cars are really sliding off exit moving forward. This is Andrew Dyson defending, Geordie Sinney. Operation, that's staying as it is. This little pack's broken away. You can see Jordan Ross, Corey Shepherd just up ahead. Andrew Dyson sort of is missing a wing on my screen. Not that sure how he's going to help his aero, but it seems to be working for him.
Yeah, he's been missing that for a little while, but that'll probably affect him down the straights and not through the corners, which doesn't quite make sense. Of course, still waiting for the new damage model on these cars, albeit we're on the esports network, but we can talk quickly about it. You know, there has been quite a bit of criticism about the new damage model. High-speed collisions, really good, really spectacular. Low-speed collisions, a little bit too sensitive at the moment. Is that bit too fragile are some of the cars. So hopefully they address those issues and then give us the new damage model. It would be a real fantastic element, it must be said. Here comes Harris versus Whiting. Whiting just closing the line a little bit. Harris did enough, and they're leaving room as well for one another. Really nice battling, and Whiting actually stays ahead.
And check out the slide on the exit of that corner for Rob Harris. Just that little bit too heavy on the throttle, those tyres just that little bit worn, and the car just steps sideways and slides, giving Chris Barnes a nice look at the side of Rob Harris's livery there.
Get Loxton off the circuit, further down. Ooh.
Whoa, contact.
Oh, and someone else has gone off now. That's, he was trying to avoid. Jaden Borg or Nathan Chagar?
I think it was Chagarthan who got contacted by Brett Loxton as he was making that rejoin. Okay, so Chadwick forced Loxton on. Yeah.
The 035 disqualified from the race. And that is... Where's the 035? Chagarthan, unfortunately out of the race. And probably a wise decision there, because there's certainly no place for the in the championship. We'll see if he returns for next week. Myers still holding on against Scott. However, I don't know if they got a team boss watching this, but boy, he'd be pulling his hair out at the moment, because look, Jordan Ross smells a race victory possible here. He's 1 second, 1.3 seconds off the race lead at the moment. Corey Shepherd and Andrew Dyson not too far back as well, but really Ross the only one, and Shepherd too there, lapping faster than the two leaders. Let's see what this lap time is. So 30.3, which is very stable for JD Myers. That seems to be his pace. I think Scott is more in the 30.1s where he's got some clear air, although that time he was a little bit slower. Maybe just waiting a little bit. He's still got plenty of laps to pass, but if there's any doubt about how tricky it is to overtake this cycle, this battle really is just showing it. But at the same time, of course, you've got to be extra careful because they are teammates and they don't want to hand over a race victory to another team.
No, that's the thing. You want to keep race victories solidly within your team. But you see just that yo-yo effect of the times between Myers and Scott, and they're sort of consistently holding station. So it'll be interesting to see if there is a team order further up. You see Loxton did get a drive-through for that unsafe track re-entry. It'll be interesting to see if Myers and Scott hold station, or if there is a switcheroo later in the race. Adam Briggs looking at the side quarter panel of Geordie Cine as he's trying to get this move done. He's got Darren Lobb behind, throwing the nose out there as well. This battle pack will be sick of each other by the end of this race.
Yeah, I'll be able to sketch one of his cars. So pretty high level. And Briggs actually losing a little bit of time there to City, which isn't really, I don't know how that's possible because he's as close as can be. Car off the track, I think he won't be joined unsafely. That's actually the KFD car of Stephen Martin. He's off the circuit, but rejoins decently safely. McAvoy in 25th. Up 11 places, he's battling with Greg Sharp. Can't get past into one, but it's all about just lining it up. This is a fantastic section of corners. When you're on old tyres, when you've got an oversteered car, maybe it's not so fantastic, but when the car is hitched up, you can really carry a lot of speed through this part of the track and just line it up for Stoner corner. Oh, almost contact. That was the Penrite car just coming across a little bit. I don't think he can have too many complaints about that one. And the 037 wedging his car up the inside. Traction battle between the two of them. You can gain those kilometers an hour faster.
One of the best things about the Phillip Island nature of the circuit is that flowy in-out sort of battle. Whilst you might be on the outside for this corner, you're on the inside for the next corner. It gives McAvoy and Sharp perfect opportunities to show exactly how good this circuit is. And look at the battle side by side. This is racing. This is what we all come here for. This is super respectful. None of them have been to each other just yet. And it's just a super close battle. McAvoy lines up again for next time round, where he will get another look at Greg Sharp and try and press the point. Blake Delaney's just licking his lips, going, come on, hit each other, send each other off. I want two positions out of this one.
Yeah, there's been no change on that lap despite all of that battling, but it was really respectful, as you say, and they didn't give anything to one another, avoiding contact did the two of them. 037 back down the inside. It's going to be a little bit more simple. Needs to be careful into two. I think he did manage to finish that one off. Yeah, McAvoy now ahead of Sharp in 24th place. Court, he's still with Cameron Jones. He's actually just overtaken Jones, I think, potentially on that last lap, despite the fact that Court is on old tyres. He might be into the pits. We've only got 10 laps to go in this event. So those tyres are really old now. Of course, we did have a few laps in the safety car, but still really old tyres, those. I do not know why he hasn't come into the pits, because he needs to get on those new tyres and then set some blistering lap times, unless he thinks he can zero stop it, but I doubt that's a possibility.
Well, he might. We tried predicting on that one that if they stopped, they could make it. But Alex Scott, he'll be just trying to salvage what he can out of this one. Obviously, a disappointing race after that. Staying out at the pit stop, whilst it was great to watch, it wasn't so great from his driver's seat. Jamie Stovald looking at the back of Simon Vella's car, and he is defending from Neil Pearson. And this is going to be interesting to see if he's got the toe, if he's got the Has he got enough of a sniff? Can he dive the car down the inside, or is he doing too much defending?
Stable, I believe, top of the pursuit drivers. Not seeing any pursuit drivers up ahead of him at the moment. So he'll be trying to represent the team well. I'll overtake there though on the 393. Myers near the front. Meanwhile, 0.8 of a second clear. Do you think that he has survived the storm now, Nori, and these guys will just follow one another to the finish, or is this just a cool down period for James Scott?
I never thought I'd be in James's corner urging him to get a pass on his old mate Brady Myers, but no, I think James has still got some time left in the car and some pace left in that car. There's still about 10 or so laps from the, or just under 10 from the end of the race. So we might still see a resurgent James Scott in this one, but maybe he's decided 9's enough. I'll give my teammate a go and give him a win. Back to this battle pack with Adam Briggs, Geordie Cini and Andrew Dyson. It just hasn't moved. They're just line astern.
Yeah, no one being able to break the deadlock. That's a bit wide though for Dyson, and he'll compromise his run. Cini might be in with a chance there. But he glanced to the inside. Oh no, he has gone for it, Cini. I thought he wasn't going for it, but he managed to move the car all the way in time.
Dyson spun.
Spins round. I think that was contact between the two of them. I just made contact the front of the car for Dyson. I just hit the side of Cini's car, I believe, and I think that helps him round. Briggs gains a place. Shameful the battle to end like that, but it was a really good move there from Cini. He didn't really pull out to make the move until very late on. It was almost as though he outbraked himself and then just had to get out of it. And then the 4-1, no, he just lost it on traction, didn't he?
And that's the thing, he would have put the foot down too hard to try and re-save the move of running deep. Unfortunate for Dyson, but that's how you break the deadlock. You run too deep into the braking marker. So Geordie Cini will have to fight off Adam Briggs on his own. Stovall again doing his representative work for pursuit and moving forward. This is Reese Keane on the back of him, trying to get the old hurry on, trying to get him to move forward through this pack. So Stovall might have some defensive work at the end of the Gardner Straight here.
Yeah, 6-3-2, or actually just ahead of them as well. Vaya is off the track. All this could be very problematic with Pearson. Oh, he did well, did Vaya. So you hitch up the grip. I don't know how you managed to get that much grip off the track when he rejoined, but managed to turn the car for the corner. But Pearson will be right in line for an overtake into the hairpin. Surely he'll go for it just to cover it off enough to Sveya.
Oh,
that is really simple. And in the background, Stovall nearly hitting the pair of them, and Keane managing to get ahead.
I think he was turning in, realised it was carb starting and turned right out again. So that didn't work out well. He's lost 2 positions out of that one, has Stovall. But what a save from Simon. That was intense.
Yeah, so if we've missed any battles through the order, but this has really been one of the closest rounds we've had all season. I mean, we always have lots to watch, but we've had even more to watch today, just such as the closeness of the field. Meanwhile, this is getting a bit closer. 30.6 that time for Myers, which is a 10th or 2 slower than what he's been doing, but Scott all of a sudden back into a 30.2. So he's been doing kind of 30.5, 30.6. In recent laps, but then steps it up a new level and back into the 30.2s. It's looking dangerous again. And that's how quickly the gap can come down. Ross a bit faster than the racer on that last time around, and Shepard actually a couple of tenths faster as well, but neither of them are really looking that impressive. I doubt they could pass these two, but if there's a collision between the top 2, they would like to be within range to take advantage of it. Currently 1.5 seconds from Scott to Ross. 1.5 seconds a gain from Ross to Shepherd. You see that Bolton, so second pass for Scott that last time round. Pearson ahead of Dodds, Ford passing the Holden. They are identical cars, remember, just from the outside look a little bit different. And Dodds is clear ahead of the 062. But if you learn anything from today, even if you do make a move, you're probably vulnerable into the very next corner. And Pearson has already taken advantage of this earlier on. Also puts his car into the inside of the track. He'll be very slow on the exit.
Whoa.
And also the likes of Keenan Stowe will try to take advantage of this. But I think they're going to catch up one another more instead. Here's McHugh. This is a massive pack around the 30th place.
Isn't it ever? You just see everyone diving every which way for a position there. It looked like it was a bingo draw on someone that just dropped the marbles. But this one is fully lit up as we're going around final corner. Someone's off down the pit lane as Sean Chappell is in the lane.
Yeah, that's always first stop. That's how far they can go then.
About time.
Yeah, it's gone 48 minutes. Admittedly, we've had 4 laps on the safety car. So that takes it down to probably 40 minutes. That's still quite far though. That's still a bit further than I thought. I thought they'd only be able to go about 35 minutes. So the fuel, this must just be a low fuel consumption. So like I said earlier, when you do carry the speed round here, it's not a whole lot of stop and start. Although you do have a couple of hairpins to deal with. Borg v Borg, dearie me, we haven't seen this situation before. Jaden Borg and Bjorn Borg, do we know if there's any relation?
I'm going to say no. Not
I don't
sure
think
whether
there
you're going
is.
to say no.
They're different teams at least, aren't they?
Different teams, different manufacturers. I reckon they're not related.
Usually it's Brian Borg, quite a bit ahead of Jaden Borg, but such has been Brian's issues. He is far lower down than the top 10 place that he started in. Latza and Johnson. Johnson's had a frustrating day, have a very good start, and yeah, in fact, had an alright start, but just hasn't. Always seems to have just been stuck behind someone. He was stuck behind someone earlier on. I think maybe Dan Lobb actually, he was stuck behind earlier on. And he's still stuck behind. It's Ken Latz at the moment. On the last lap, they absolutely matched one another to the 100th. Pearson and Dodds, though, off the track. That's a shame.
Oh, off the back of the grid. Off the grid. Off the track, yes.
Yeah, 62 into the 81 there, and it just is the close proximity of the racing. Someone in the chat saying 2 wide, go race sprint cars like real men. I don't know if you've been watching. We've had 3 wide, we've had 4 wide so far in this race. It's been properly intense action so far.
We had 4 wide at Le Mans.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of the time as well, didn't we? So no, the racing in these supercars is absolutely insane. Yeah, some really tight battling, some fantastic action so far in this race and so far in the championship as well. Because every round of this championship being won by James Scott. But as we're about to move on to the third and final lap 32 of 34. It is looking like, whilst the race wins will stay within Logitech G Autos Esports, may be going to Brady Myers this time rather than the defending champion and car number 1. Cine, who got past Dyson, he's how to hold off Greg. Sidney has been an exceptionally improved driver so far this season. I think possibly the most improved driver in the entire field, because last season he was struggling to get top 10s. He's a solid top 10 driver now, and will be battling for a top 3 in the championship, I'm sure.
Absolutely, one of the drivers that has come to the front of the pack and has stayed there with consistency. A lot of the Synergy Sim team have found some real good pace, but Geordie's one of those drivers that has just found that extra bit and is there every week, week in, week out. And it's super exciting to watch as you just watch his racecraft right now as he's battling Adam Briggs there. Probably this last season we wouldn't have seen this battle, but today we're seeing it, and it is Geordie Cini right out in front. This is Jamie McKnight though. He didn't have a cracking opening lap. And he's making his... As we go to replay.
Yeah, so Jamie McKnight with an annoying day once again. Yeah, getting involved in that battle as well. We are about to move on to the penultimate lap of the race. Still Brady Myers leading the way, half a second clear of James Scott. Now, how hard are these guys battling? Hopefully, we'll find out how close this battle has been in the last 10 laps, because Scott, after pounding pressure on his teammate for so many laps after the safety car, when he lost, of course, out when he was held up by Sean Chappell, Myers was able to take the lead. And the few laps after that, Scott was all over the back of his teammate and really looked like he was going to overtake. Occasionally got his nose ahead even. And for the last probably 12 laps, just hasn't been the same James Scott, and that might just be his tyres going on slightly quicker than Myers, because they really are pushing these tyres to the limit. Might be that Myers has just got a bit more comfortable and a bit faster, or it could be that Scott has just let off the pace. However, you can see for yourself, it's 0.3 of a second on the timing screen, but really it's only about a car's length in between the two drivers at the moment. And with a lap and a half to go, it could still change. It would be quite a spectacular finish. We've seen some spectacular finishes so far this season anyway. At Le Mans, of course, recently, and also Okayama. It's a brilliant final lap battle on that occasion. Blake Delaney, close to Tyson McAvoy. And McAvoy up 14, Delaney up 19.
We saw McAvoy on that charge before with Greg Sharp, and it looks like he might have reached the end of those tyres, which is fitting because it's near the end of the race. So he'll be just trying to hold on in that position there and not lose a single one. But that battle back behind him is looking alive and electric. You've got the likes of Jamie Dyke, Jamie McKnight, Paul Warwick. They're all in there, all battling, all trading blows through this part of the hay shed leading into Lukey Heights.
Out in the lead though, I think we'll probably have to concentrate on these guys to the finish, because we've got quarter of a second. Scott could go for this one. This is one of the last attempts he's going to have, and he's as close as he could be without being in passing range. And they are teammates, of course. They do not want to go give another team their first race win of the season. It would be another 1-2 for them to go with their other 1-2s, of course, 100% record in the team races as well. Myers, 0.3 of a second clear. He's had to play second best to his teammate for pretty much the entire season. This will surely put him up into second place in the championship. It was 9 out of 9 for James Scott. It was looking so good for him after the safety cars, with Harley Haver out of the equation. But a little bit of contact with Sean Chappell has lost him the race lead, and Brady Myers has driven superbly ever since to hold on to this race lead. And he is going to take his first race win of the season. Brady Myers wins at Phillip Island, round 10 of the AOSC Super Series goes to him. Scott finishes second best for the first time this season. The run is over. 9 out of 9 is as far as it will go. But it is still a good result for Logitech GLC Sports. I'm sure he would not rather lose to another driver than his own teammate. Harris will be in 14th place. It was Ross who rounded out the podium. Another good podium for Jordan Ross, which will help out his championship standings as well. Who else is battling? McAvoy and Delaney pretty close to one another, but I think McAvoy will have enough pace in this one to hold on. It may be Chris Barnes and Alex Court. Could be quite close. Court with new tyres, of course. Much faster than these other drivers. He could even get a good run through this final corner and really set an attack onto the final straight. But Court, who didn't come in under the safety car earlier on, not being able to make much of an impression on the run to the line. So the run is over. It's been a big talking point, and I really did think it would be possible for Scott to go to the end of the championship without losing a round. But perhaps in a season where he's got pretty lucky with Okayama in particular, where he got quite fortunate, of course, Silverstone as well, the first race of the season when Premier really deserved to win on that occasion. Perhaps just the luck harming him on that occasion. And Brady Myers manages to steal that race win.
Yeah, I think it was the lapped or the out of position car on the restart, and the timing of the safety car probably wasn't ideal for James Scott. It just sort of harmed him in that regard. But I mean, when your worst result of the entire season is second position, that's not a bad run at all. So he's definitely on fine form as James Scott. And I mean, to give your teammate a win, if that's the way it's played out, I mean, that's fantastic for Brady Myers to get the win and finally stop playing second fiddle. He can finally hold up a trophy of his own.
Yeah, I guess the big question now will be to the end of the season, can anyone take a win off Logitech GLC Sports? Because maybe at the start of the season, there was a bit of a doubt whether Brady Myers could, consistently be up at the front. I think the last few rounds, and particularly this round, has put any question about that to bed, because he is clearly almost a match for Scott. I think Scott still had the pace advantage today, but even when Scott was involved in something, Haber, with that very long pit stop, couldn't take advantage of it, and Myers was able to offer up some support. So it's another 1-2 for Logitech G Altus Esports, and we can go through your final results. There it is. 0.2 of a second, one of the closest finishes we've had all season long. Jordan Ross with a very good third place, dropped. Actually, no, sorry, Corey Shepherd was pretty close in the end, wasn't he? In fourth place, really close racing between all four of them. Jordan Cine wasn't far off either, 7 seconds off. Another great result for Synergy Sim Racing, with 3 drivers in the top 10. 4 drivers in the top 11 even. Then it was Adam Briggs and Darren Lobb. Damon Johnston, Ken Latter, and Andrew Dyson rounded out the top 10. There was Christian Smart, Stephen Varga. Good drive, actually, for Varga. He was up 11 places from his start. Michael Whiting was up 11 places as well. Rob Harris was up 16. There was Cameron Jones in 15th, Reese Keane in 16th. Jamie Stable, Simon Bayer, Simon Chadwick, and Neil Pearson rounds out the top 20. Then it was Tyson McAvoy, Blake Delaney, Greg Sharp, Harry Dodds, Jamie McKnight, Paul Warwick, Marcy Hansen, Jaden Borg, Jamie Dyke, Chris Barnes, Alex Court, Brian Borg, Michael Dumbrell, Tony Gaffer, Scott McKeon, Mark Dillell, Blake Blace, Mark Duggan, Sean Chappell, Stephen Martin, Tom Freer, Mark Fee was in 42nd. He did finish, did Mark Fee, but he was many laps down. Brett Loxton, Nathan Tregarthen, Michael Taliancic, Logan Barnett, Harley Haber, Adam Barnard all didn't finish, and Ryan Kolstad as well got some laps in the safety car, which I'm sure he enjoyed. 4 laps in the safety car did the driver get. So this is very unusual for me, because I'm not going to drag in James Scott for once. I don't have to bear that conversation. Instead, for the first time this season, I can drag up Brady Myers first into the commentary box, because he has got his first race win of the championship. Brady, congratulations. It's been a long time coming. You must be delighted with finally clinching that.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but I finally got there. I think if anyone was going to be James, it might as well be his teammate. So I'm absolutely wrapped with that.
Take us through the move then, because that was when the race was almost decided. I think got held up by Sean Chappell, was that correct? I mean, how was it from your perspective in the car?
Yeah, it was difficult to try and sort of place yourself in a way that you weren't going to be under attack from behind. So it's a bit unfortunate for James. He just got caught wide with Sean. So it's tough, but it worked out well for me.
And then there was an absolute onslaught for the next few laps. I mean, Scott was all over the back of you. Was there an element, were you racing each other differently, you think, because you were teammates, or did that go out of the window when it came to the race win?
James and I have always competed hard against each other, even when we weren't in the same team. So I think the level of respect is always present. So we always race each other hard, but always try and give each other enough room for, so we don't knock each other off the track. So I appreciate all the respectful driving from James. He drove very well.
And then in those last, kind of from lap 20 onwards to the end of the race, you just seem to have a cushion. I mean, was that just maybe the tyres getting a little bit better for yourself? Because really, once you survive those first few laps in the lead, you managed to be able to keep kind of about a car's length to the end of the race. Yeah,
we sort of went different ways in the way we set up our car this week. I sort of went for a less aggressive, more tyre-friendly setup this week, whereas James has gone in a different direction. But I still think he probably had the ultimate pace this week. So I think if we can sort of mix and match what I had with what he had, I think we'll come up with something quite deadly for the rest of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Any stronger, and the others will struggle to deal with that. We've got a break week in a couple of weeks' time, but next up we've got Daytona Road. Have you got any kind of supercars experience around that track?
Yeah, I competed in the last event AOSC did at Daytona. So I'm not sure if it's the one with the newly formed chicane, but either way, it should be an interesting race. Sort of speedway tracks always seem to throw up really good close racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done on that race win today, Brady. You certainly do deserve it after this season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thank you. Just a massive shout out to James. Obviously, thanks for not turfing me off and racing me fair and hard. To our partners, Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, iLiveries, Motorsport Australia, Owned TV, Race Tech Seats, and to you guys for the broadcast. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Brady, and best of luck for next week.
Thank you. Hopefully, I'll be coming back in the winner's spot again sometime this season.
Awesome. That was Brady Mize there for Logitech G Outers Esports, your race winner for tonight. Next up, we have got second place man James Scott, and Noi is standing by with him.
Yes, James Scott, welcome to the commentary booth tonight. How do you bounce back from it is your worst result of season 9, it's P2. How do you bounce back from that?
Well, quite frankly, it just wasn't good enough. I don't really like this track at all, and thought I had it fairly well covered until that safety car restart. I'm not quite sure. In my view, there should have been a few penalties there. Whoever was in the lead was on and off the brakes and accelerator before we got going, and then I got held out at turn 2, and then Brady got past, and obviously with the aero wash with the high speed corners around here, it was just couldn't get past him.
So the restart was really what held you up there in that race. You were off, sort of sent off to the outside of the corner by a car, not really on the same strategy. That really did hamper your run, and yeah,
that's pretty much the story of my race. Obviously that car didn't really do anything wrong, but whoever's in the lead, I think, didn't really follow the restart procedure correctly. But that's all good, and I'm sure he'll learn from that. And yeah,
The experience you have from leading many races puts you in good stead to make comment. But I do want to ask about your race start, because against Harley Haber, that was a fantastic start. You both sort of went side by side, and it was a cracker to watch from our angle.
yeah, that was good fun. It reminded me of I think it was Jamie Whincup and Scott McLaughlin that went through there. Although Harley managed to keep it on the track. I think it was in 2014. But yeah, it was good to have a good race at the start there, and then I started to pull away just a little bit, and then the safety car come out, and I think maybe Harley got a penalty or something. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it was a good start to the race.
Yeah, it was fantastic while you were holding the lead. But I mean, P2 is not a bad result here anyway, and it's not a bad result when it's your worst race of the season. But are you looking forward to Daytona Road, our next race on the calendar?
Yeah, I do like Daytona. It's a really fun track to drive. I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the tracks where the draft's really powerful. So things like Monza and Le Mans, which ran a few weeks ago, I just think that it's too hard for the leader to really show his true pace. But it's how it is, and we'll see how we go.
I have no doubt in my mind you'll be back at the front of the field there next week. It's good to have you for P2, and do you want to give us a shout out to your sponsors while you're here?
Yeah, obviously all our great sponsors at Altus Esports, Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, Own 3D, Race Deck Seats, and obviously congrats to Brady for the win. We've been working well all week on the setup. We did run 2 sort of different setups tonight, but turns out they were both pretty decent. And obviously you guys are putting on a great show, and the AOSC admin.
Thanks, James, and we'll see you around next week.
Thanks, guys.
James Scott then second place for Logitech G Altus Esports. We are finally going to be able to bring up Jordan Ross, who managed to get another podium, did the 1-4-3 third position tonight. Jordan, you must be really delighted with that one. Pretty much maximised the result.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, I think that was probably as good as we could do tonight. Those 2 cars in front were just way too good tonight. They just hooked up, and we're getting closer. And on certain tracks, we can sort of almost lay a hand on them, but still going. So we'll see how we go at the next track.
Absolutely. Generally, Synergy managed to do very well this week. I mean, can you put your finger on kind of why that was? Is it just, as you say, you're just stronger around some circuits than others? Because 4 drives in the top 11 is surely one of your best team results.
Yeah, no, there's been a big shake-up in the last 6 months in the team. We've got a lot of new guys, and there's been a lot more like intra-team, like where we do setups together and all that sort of stuff during the week. Whereas before it was sort of me and Kyle on our own, and when we got the time, we'd jump in and try and do a set and whatever. But we've got the new, a couple of new young guys, Damo and Geordie, and they're absolutely killing it. It won't be long before, I know Damo got a podium out at Le Mans, so it won't be long until Geordie's on the podium as well.
Absolutely. How was it holding back Corey in those closing stages? Because with about 15 laps to go, you're only about a second and a half clear of him, and then that just seemed totally constant. I mean, were you ever concerned, or were you just so evenly matched that he never really got in range?
I sort of think the aero wash just, if you have a look at the gaps, it's all second half, and obviously James probably had the pace on everyone tonight, and he could sit in that aero zone on Brady. But I noticed a couple of times I'd get to within a second and a half, or I got down to like 0.8 or whatever behind James right there at the end, and you're starting to push up on them, and then all the long corners, the tyres would go away, and then you'd have to sort of you'd drop that almost 2 seconds back or whatever, and then you'd have to recover the tyres for half a lap, and then you could go again. You couldn't So I wasn't too worried about Corey. I think he was having probably the same issue I was. With cars that are sort of semi-evenly matched, once you get in that aero zone, it's sort of very hard on a track like this to get the pass done.
Next up, we've got Daytona. The fact that, of course, you got so many kind of CNG cars around that top 10, around a super speedway like that, with the draft effect very strong, are you able to kind of use your cars strategically to benefit yourself, do a bit of fuel saving, kind of not waste each other too much time? Is that an advantage that you're going to try to exploit?
We haven't thought about it, but we'll probably have a bit of a think about it. And obviously, if the cars are sort of near each other on track, we'll try and use it to our advantage, of course. We want to see all the synergy cars up the front. So we'll do what we can to try and assist that.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on another podium tonight. Jordan, is there anyone you'd like to give any thanks to?
Yeah, all the guys at Synergy, particularly this week, like Damo, Smarty, and Geordie have been putting in. I haven't been around, and they come up with a great set. I just rolled up and drove tonight, so it was awesome. And JK Signs, Posie's Mechanical Repairs, and all the other boys at Synergy. Of course, you guys and AOSC for rolling up each week and putting this show on.
Awesome. Well, best of luck for next week, Jordan. And congratulations once again.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Jordan Ross there for Synergy Sim Racing, your third place driver. I am really looking forward to Daytona next time out. I mean, that's going to be toe effect once again. We saw that was brilliant at Le Mans. And perhaps that's going to be one of the best opportunities on the run to the end of the season for someone to take a win off the Logitech guys, because I mean, we've got Spa, Red, Atlanta, Sebring, Imola, and Bathurst, which are all kind of a bit more standard circuits. Daytona could be a bit more of a lottery for those guys.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people do run Daytona for the 24 hours of Daytona at the start of the year, and it's just a good circuit. You've got the high-speed banking, you've got the internal road bit. It really does change it up. It's super fun, super challenging. I guess we've already got the hoodoo of the James Scott total win streak off the back. Now we just need to get the Logitech GLC Sport win off the back, and then we'll have a diverse season. But I think it shows the caliber of that team, those drivers, to be solely locking it out. Like Jordan was saying, Synergy's found something, and they're working together well as a group. They just need to push that extra bit. And I reckon, no doubt, we'll see Geordie sitting up there grabbing trophies soon as well. So, it's going to be good. Daytona Road's a fantastic circuit, and let's roll on next week.
Definitely. Before we go, big thanks to all the sponsors for the championship. Akita, who do height safety and rigging equipment for sale and hire. So whether you're looking just to do some DIY or just, or if you're operating a business as well, really go check out Akita, because they've got so much stuff on there. Anything that you need in that department, Akita will have it available. Also, big thanks to Jinx Shifters as well, making premium shifters and also brake bias and ARB adjusters. Race Circuit Arts Australia, and making fantastic CNC race circuits to go on your wall outlines of various circuits from around the world, and especially in Australia as well. 6th Gear Imagery, he'll be doing the action shots for this round of the championship. Do check out the AOSC Facebook page for all of that. Wolf Graphics for fantastic Aussie-made stickers, and also West End Mazda, Too Easy Finance, Parramatta, Isuzu Utes as well. Sydney Car Dealers, all led by Jamie McKnight. So if you're looking to buy a car in the Sydney area, certainly do check out West End Mazda, Too Easy Finance, or Parramatta, Isuzu Utes. And I'm sure Jamie McKnight can probably get you a pretty good deal on one of them as well. So big thanks to all of them. Big thanks to the stewards as well for this round of the championship, and big thanks to you guys as well at home for watching along. About 100 live viewers at one point, and if any of the drivers are watching this back as well, big thanks for putting on another great show. We've got a break in a couple of weeks' time, so you need to make sure that you do watch the next round of the championship at Daytona in just 1 week's time, because then we go on a couple of weeks' break. So certainly do check out round 11 of the AOSC Super Series Season 9, coming up at a similar time next week. 300 kilometers, twice the length of this race. A couple of stops the Le Mans race was awesome with that format. I'm sure we are going to see a fantastic race as well at Daytona coming up very soon. But for now, from me, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Matthew Norris and from Scott Neaton, it is still 10 out of 10 for Logitech G Autos Esports, but it is a first race win for Brady Myers. Can he keep it up at Daytona? We'll see in 1 week's time. See you then.